Factory closing 600 stores this year. CVS closing 900 stores through the end of this year. Walgreens closing 150 stores. Outback Steakhouse has already closed 40 of its restaurants. UPS is cutting 12,000 jobs in 2024. Citigroup cutting 20,000 positions as well. eBay, why not? 1,000 jobs lost there. Microsoft cutting 1,900 positions. Expedia cutting 1,500. Cisco cutting 4,000. Apple cutting 600. It's entertainment too. Regal Cinemas closing 429 locations. Kroger's grocery store chain. Cisco cutting 4,000. Apple cutting 600. It's entertainment too. Regal Cinemas closing 429 locations. Kroger's grocery store chain shutting down 413 stores. It's not affordable to be in retail anymore. Foot Locker closing 400 stores by 2026. Macy's will close 150 locations by 2026. Walmart, already this year, has closed 6 of its supercenters. While the U.S. Senate has passed nearly $100 billion to send to other countries that Joe Biden just signed yesterday, most can't even find Ukraine or Israel on a freaking map, let alone Taiwan. We are paying money that we don't have as our economy goes down the toilet and American jobs die. Of course, we know we're going to ban TikTok so nobody can talk about it freely.
Man, fuck this place. Who gives a fuck? Straight up. But hey, I want to say Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutation to the whole elect. Moving this gospel brothers, make the standard of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just a lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. You had this woman on here. She's basically admitting to the internet how you have an exceptional amount of businesses that's closing their doors here in America. It's a lot, yeah. Give me 1 second. It's a lot, yeah. Anyway, you got an exceptional amount of businesses that's closing their doors here in 2024, as we've been in a retail apocalypse for the last 7-8 years, man, going on 9 years. I mean, the retail apocalypse has been blatantly obvious at this point, but they used the 2020 ordeal to hide that in plain sight because they needed something to blame they needed something to blame the fact that the dollar was collapsing on, okay, which is this, they use the CY9 and say, well, this is the reason why the money is weak. Well, the money has been weak here in America, okay, and it has not improved because one thing, you have what they call hyperinflation or inflation, which the valuing of the money is totally devaluing the goods appears to go up. It's not the fact that the goods are going up, it's the fact that the money is devalued. So the goods appears to be more expensive. People say, oh, things are expensive. No, it's just the dollar is losing purchasing power. Okay, you have what I call stagflation as well. Stagflation, when they basically, you have, you don't have the same amount, you have less of quantity, so to speak. Like, buy a bag of chips and, you may have 40% air in it versus back in the 90s, you buy a bag of chips, you got, you got 80-90% of chips, and then you may have 10% of air. But as time progressed, they started to put more air in the bag and less product. I believe that's stagflation, okay? But I was looking up some things, and this guy Michael, what's his name, Bernero, I think he used to be called some type of prepper, but I guess he changed his name, which they gonna find him and they gonna hang his ass because he throw his wealth in people's face. But also I typed in economic collapse 2024, and a lot of videos come up. Everybody give their opinion on how the U.S. dollar is going to collapse and we're going to go to digital currency, which in fact is biblical. Okay, and I always stated that Once the U.S. dollar collapsed, I believe that's when the missiles will be shot off. But prior to the missiles being shot off, we understand that they have to collapse the dollar and they have to institute the MOTB, which I believe, in my humble opinion, that the institution of the MOTB will be when the U.S. dollar collapse, which World War III will be shortly thereafter. Okay, but it says the financial crisis no one is talking about. It was another video that I saw. It says U.S. economists predicting a major market crash for 2024, and markets are crashing, man. All right, I was just looking at something. It says Republic Bank collapsed late last night. Hundreds more coming, and we're not hearing about this shit. Okay, we're not hearing about this for real. Only how we hear about this is when we get our information and we do our research. But and that's a beautiful kernel. But they're not telling us straightforward that these banks are collapsing like that, man. You know, you're not reading about it on the news or hearing about it on the news unless it's like a major bank, like Silicon Valley Bank, and then or you got not MSNBC, but what's this other bank, Bank of America? They're talking about they're going under, and all this other stuff too. So, regardless of it, America is heading down the drain. We're watching it collapse in real time. And hey, I want to say call Allah Yahweh Bashim Howard Shai because everybody else is panicking about this thing, but you know us, we don't. You know, it's a beautiful thing, okay? Because this is just the prelude to us getting the hell up out of here. All right, and every time I see these Cardinals, but they said it is, and I'm off subject here, but they say you see Cardinals are like Blue Jays. People think that those are basically angels giving messages because the scriptures go into how the birds can communicate with the men of the Lord. And I've been seeing a lot of cardinals over the weekend, man. And even though cardinal is it's a very common bird, but it's just the fact you don't really see them in certain places. But they be out here quite a bit. Those and Blue Jays, I've seen the Blue Jays a few times too on my balcony. But, you know, nonetheless, America's through. And anybody that's having hope in this system, hey, man, you's a fool, man, because the scriptures say, trust not in uncertain riches. That U.S. dollar is an uncertain rich. Okay, it's an uncertain currency. It's a debt note. Has no value to it. All right. So anyway, let's get here real quick. Uncertain riches, because everybody had their hope in the U.S. dollar and getting the bag, and everybody is mad. They've been on TikTok, and you know everybody they're building up these new developments, and a lot of this stuff that they're building up here in America, they're not going to be able to finish it because they're not going to have the necessary funding. You know, it looks good, but they're not going to be able to finish a lot of these building projects because, you know, the money is getting weak. You know, so they're building, but yet the Lord said they should build and I should throw down. All right. So this is the book of 1 Timothy 6. And I'm going to start at verses 17. It says, charge them that are rich in this world, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches. Okay. And we understand that the elites are spearheading this whole global infrastructure into chaos. Okay, they're deliberately collapsing banks. They're pulling commodities out of markets, you know, commerce, logistics. They're pulling the plug on a lot of these things because they're getting ready to set up the new world order. Okay, so they need as much chaos as they can possibly have in order for the plan to go through, because they need people to ride and become chaotic so they can come with a solution. You know, when you push people into a form of disparity, and you take away the goods and necessities, especially these slow bellies over here in the West, you take away food and bread and circus and a job, these people be willing to lick the ground you walk on just to get a meal. And that's going to be the reality of it. And this is how they're going to push that MOTB on people. Because a lot of people ain't going to want to take it. They're going to resist it for a minute. But then when they realize how bad it is, a lot of people going to get bullied into getting it. A lot of people going to get afraid. And then they just going to start threatening you with life or death. Like, look, man, if you don't take it, we just going to put you in a concentration camp and we're going to put you to death. And that's going to scare a lot of people into subjection. Okay, this is why we say that our faith has to be grounded, man. All right? But it reads, it says, charge them that are rich in this world, which is the elites, that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches. Yeah, because like you got a lot of these stockbrokers on Wall Street, you know, they've put their trust in this money. And when they lose the money, I've seen it, you know, look, pictures of it when the stock market goes down. These lower level Edomites that don't really understand how money works, I mean, they literally go home and commit suicide. They'll kill a family, you know, kiss the women and children, and then they'll blow them away, and then they'll go put a shotgun in their mouth and take their head off. Okay, that's the weak nature of Esau. He's not bred to suffer. we've been suffering since we've been a nation, so we become accustomed to it. But it reads, it says, but the living power who gives us richly all things to enjoy. Okay, that they do good, that they be rich in good works, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may be lay hold on eternal life. And that goes into storing your treasures in heaven, man, because the men of the Lord, we don't have trust in this system. We understand that the money that we use is a means to an end, and we have to pay our bills, our rent, and go to school, and not school, go to work. And the ministry, it costs money to keep the ministry running. Like these cell phones and stuff, and cameras and signs, and you got to pay the bill in order to upload your video on YouTube, man. Okay, so basically, it costs money to you need money to do the ministry. But overall, we don't put trust in this uncertain system because we know that it's gonna collapse, and we're looking at it. All right. Let's go back here from the book of Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. And this wasn't going to be a long lesson, by the way. Ecclesiastes 12:1, it says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, when the evil days come not. Okay, we're in the evil days now. It says, nor when the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. Like when you get older, like a lot of jakes and a lot of women, see, they do their wickedness throughout their young life. And then all of a sudden, when they're in their 60s and 70s, this is when they want to have a come to Jesus moment. Well, I found the Lord when I was 60 years old. Yeah, when you all doped out and rotted out, then you want to come to have a Jesus moment. The Lord said he ain't dealing with that. The Lord wants you while you're young, you're vibrant, while you can do the work. That's the sacrifice, man. All right. But it says here, while the sun and the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the house should tremble, the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of windows be darkened. Going into the optimism. Okay, there's a pessimistic vibe lingering on America now, because nobody sees it for what it is no more. Nobody sees it for what they thought it was. Okay, everybody thought this was the land of the free, the home of the brave. You come here, you get rich, raise a family, live life, the glittering sunsets, the mansions, the money, the careers. It was a field day for Esau. Well, it's been hell on our people. But now that those days are done, man, okay, and things are very grim. And it reads, and it says, and that the door should be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, and he should rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music should be brought low. The economy is failing. Okay, and sooner than later, man, they just gonna put a plug on this US dollar. Markets are going to plummet. People are going to run and get their money out of the ATMs and their banks, and they're not going to be able to do it. And then people are going to riot, chaos, because they're not going to have money. They're going to panic buy. They're going to go to the supermarkets and clear everything out. And then, people are going to guard their homes because they know that people are coming to repossess it and people are coming to take goods. Okay? And this is when they're going to have to deploy the troops to the streets to do away with the chaos. Okay, those days are coming soon, man, and we can see them relatively quick. And it says, and also when they should be afraid of which is high, and fear should be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper should be a burden, and the desire shall fail, because men go to his long home, and the mourners go about the streets. Yeah, okay, because homelessness is at an all-time high. Okay, people are gonna go to the streets. They're gonna look for food. They're gonna protest. They're gonna go to government buildings. They're gonna seek these IRS agents, man. It's gonna be pretty crazy out here, And all that said, the men of the Lord, hey, we gotta endure through all of it, man, because it's gonna be pretty tricky. But the Lord, He's gonna see us through. Okay, we just have to wait and see how we gonna have the provisions, but we gonna be taken care of. So it ain't really nothing for us to worry about, but still, stand in the spirit. All right, Isaiah 19, and I'm gonna start at 2. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Okay, city against city, kingdom against kingdom, meaning you're going to have world wars, you're going to have civil wars, race wars, class wars, war between the rich and the poor and the rich. Okay, it's going to be crazy. It says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and we're seeing it. All right, the Lord is taking a spirit out this place. And it says, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they will seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians would I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, says the Lord of hosts. Okay, and the water shall fail from sea to sea, and the river should be wasted and dried up, and they should turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of the fence should be emptied and dried up, and the reeds and flags shall wither. And the paper reeds by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither and be driven away and be no more, because it's going to be a complete breakdown of this system. Okay, it says the fishes also shall mourn, and all they that cast an angle into the brooks shall lament. It says, and they shall spread nets upon the water and shall languish. And moreover, they that work in fine flax, and they weave networks shall be confounded, and they shall be broken in the purposes thereof, and all that make sluices and ponds for fish. Meaning that we're just going to have a collapse of this system. You see, verses 14. And it says, and the Lord hath permingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggering in his vomit. Okay, because, hey, eventually none of us ain't going to have no jobs. I don't give a damn what field you work in. You could be in a so-called recession-proof field. You know, like these corporations claim to be, oh, we're recession-proof. Okay, you think so. They're going to start laying off in these departments sooner than later. Hey, they closing 430 Regal cinemas, man. Okay? One of my favorite movie theaters to go to is down at the Lake of the Ozarks, and that's a Regal cinema. I believe that's like one of the only movie theaters they got down there. You know, every time I used to go down with the family and shit, you know, we'll go catch a movie. Maybe whether it be Friday night or Saturday night, or, you know, when we get ready to leave for the weekend, we'll catch a movie at Regal Cinemas, and it's a pretty dope theater, you know. Quiet, laid back, got that old vibe to it. Now, I'm not sure that's one of the ones they're going to close, but eventually all these businesses are going to shut down because they don't have the money to operate. Okay? And it says, neither should there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail or branch or rush may do. And in that day, Egypt should be like unto women, and should be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he's shaking over it, man. Okay? So, yeah, it's safe to say that this place is done, and hey, good riddance to it. But anyway, I'm gonna close out giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Lord's will, you were edified until the next level.